I was so impressed by Robert's talk, because I don't do this so well, but that was fabulous, Robert. It really gave a good talk. And what I was struck by, one of the things I was struck by was how completely different everything about our artwork is. You are very polished and detailed, and you love beautiful women. I love rust. I love decay. I love torn paper rather than straight edges. So it's very different. And I think that was a good pairing, actually, because it's a big contrast here. Yeah. So I did not study art in college. I felt I had to earn a living. So my first career was in biology. And then after a few years of that, I went into computers. So I was a computer person for many years. And then now my third career is as an artist. I did study all through that time art, but after college. But I didn't seriously start doing it till my later years. I didn't start showing artwork in my later work years. And then I said, I got to get out of this work world and do art. So that's when I started, and I started traditionally with painting watercolor, landscapes kind of thing. And then I moved on to abstraction. And now, the phase I'm in right now is assemblages and collages. That's what I really like to do. And I try to incorporate all those things I just said, you know, rusty metal. I love entropy, I love decay. So and ancient things. I love ancient things, I love archaeology, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I try to incorporate into my work. Some of my influences, there's two black collage artists, Jacob Lawrence and Romare Bearden. And Joseph Cornell was an assemblage artist. It was all 2D. I mean, it was all hung, but it was all in boxes, all his work. So he's been a great influence. Whenever I see something of his, I just go nuts. So, and
were you also influenced by Louise Nevelson?
Yes, I loved Louise Nevelson and her constructions. They were great. And Anselm Kiefer, I don't know if any of you know him. Yeah, he's one of my heroes. He just does amazing work. And his is a lot about decay and war. He did live in Germany. He was a child of the World War II. Anyhow, he's a great influence also. So I'll talk about these pieces here that I brought in. I also do clay work. I like clay. I love the feel of clay. I love how it feels in your hands and what you can do with it. So I make clay pieces, and I like some figurative, but I don't focus on figurative. So I made this figure, and I made this figure here too. And so they're out of clay, and then I say, well, now what am I going to do with them? And so I thank God I have a beautiful big studio space where I can leave all or a lot of my found objects and treasures I've collected over the years and that other people give me too. They know I like my rusty metal. They know I like shards of glass. They know I like bones. So I collect them, and then I can leave a lot of them out, and I can go around and say, I've got this. What can go with this? What can I put with this that makes something, a statement about my worldview, my way of looking at the world and what I do to interact with it. So this is a found object. This is, I think, like a crab pot or it's something to catch fish or crabs or something. Anyways, I'm sure it was much bigger. I found it. I've altered it and put her inside. And this is a found object. This is, I think, like a crab pot or it's something to catch fish or crabs or something. Anyways, I'm sure it was much bigger. I found it. I've altered it and put her inside. And, I also, I, have, I, have altered it and put her inside. And, um, I, also, I, have altered it and put her inside. And she's meant to be a goddess, and she's meant to be trapped by man's inventions. And she's meant to, with our current situation of climate warming, she's meant to be a statement about that. And so what's inside is meant to be sort of water-like, allusions to water and the colors and the broken glass and stuff. This is, I forget there's a name for, back in the Renaissance, I think, they used to put on the walls, they would have figures in plaster, and then they would have flowers and stuff around them. So this, and there's a name for them. But I'm sure they would never have had like the bones in there. So, so that's sort of just an homage to that period of time. But it also has, rusty metal and found objects in it too. And I made the clay figure. And then I broke her, and that's why she's covered in the middle. So, because this part of the middle shattered. And then I also had to fit her in the box, so I shaved off her back and stuff like that. So, then this one is, these are piano keys here. And this is rusty metal. So this is one of my, I love this one. Because, and then it's got catgut to hold it all together, and an old piece of wood that I found. So by putting it together this way, though, I transformed it into what I consider a totem, or the remains of a totem. So I'm not speaking to ancient cultures, although in our own culture we have totems, but they're not this kind of totem. So this is more a reference to ancient cultures, as is the black one. Again, found objects, and there's a sponge in there, and there's sea urchin prongs or whatever they are. But it's also meant to reference, like, there's writing there. There's ancient writing there. I allude to ancient writing, and I call it forensic clues just because it's maybe trying to tell us in this current time something from the past. So I'm always thinking about the past and what they knew and what the ancients, whatever they were. Even science.
I'm a big history buff myself,
Uh-huh.
and I just read where in the Middle Ages they used to put the bones of saints in these beautiful requiem boxes.
Oh, yeah.
To honor the bones of the saints.
Oh yeah, they still do. I mean, you can go to Europe and you can find those things, those reliquaries everywhere with the bones of the saints in them, and you can go under the cathedrals and find whole bunches of skeletons all stacked together.
I'm sure.
You probably don't love that, Robert. I love that. You love the living, and I love all these dead things. And all these references to ancient history and the way humans treated humans back then, and the saints were, they loved their bones. They adored their bones.
They go marching in.
And that's right. They go marching in. Yeah. And then most of these things take a long time because I have to mix and match, and even if I get the main structure, then I still have to figure out how to finish it off. And sometimes I can't, it takes years for me to figure out how to put it all together. Other times, and there's two of them up here, and this one took probably 3 years before I got it all together. This one came together in 1 month. It just suddenly, but I'd had this, and I'd actually had this in another piece, and I'd taken the piece apart. And so then I had all this sitting out there, and I went, I know what I'm going to do with this piece. And I was actually able to complete it within that, about a month. And the one on the end there, it's a collage, and that one came together in probably a couple days, which is so unusual for me. Like I said, it can take 3 years to do something. And that one, and this one came together very quickly. What else can I say about my stuff? Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. Where does your sense of composition come from?
I
No, because I love your composition.
Really?
You actually put these together just aesthetically, visually, with shapes and how they're balanced.
Uh-huh.
It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I do not know.
You must be thinking about
All the time.
while you're creating.
Oh, I will put this, this here and then this. I'm always rearranging till I see something that, oh, this is going to work. It takes me forever to figure that out, though.
You don't have any background in...
Well, I studied art after college. I did, and so I had the basics.
But you studied science too, right?
My degree was in
So I
science.
could see
Yeah.
the history there.
Yeah, and that's why I like, because I did science, I like all the science sides of it too.
The
So,
rust and-
right,
yes.
and entropy and ancient cultures.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Perhaps you just sort of intuit your compositions because you like to play, you like to assemble
Yeah.
things and collect things. And I know when I work like that, I'll lay things down and move it around and come back to it the next day and look at it again.
And sometimes I take it all apart and throw it aside and start all over again because the next day it might not look so good. You think, oh, this is starting to work, and then the next day it's like,
Did you often restart multiple times?
oh, yes, I often start them over and over.
Isn't the process of playing also the process of analysis?
Yes, yes, because I'm looking at color. I am looking at composition. I am looking at color.
There is an understanding that you're seeking and you're analyzing as you
Yeah.
go. It's a
Yeah.
fluid
Yeah,
process, but it's not just like willy-nilly something comes. It is a process.
well, it starts willy-nilly. Something appeals to me that day. Like Margaret brings me rusty metal and all kinds of found objects, and I put them out, and suddenly I'll go, oh, I want to use this. And I might put it together with something, but then the next day it doesn't work, and I have to put it aside again.
That's a play and analysis.
It's play and analysis, back and forth, yeah. This thing has always made me think that I should have a statement about all the garbage we leave in the water and how our waters are getting polluted and stuff like that. So this piece of material carried its own weight and its own message to start with for me. And then it was, how do I combine it with something else that's, because no one wants to look at just this hanging on the wall, you know? So it's like, how do I elaborate on this message? How do I make it clearer and yet still artistic?
I love that piece.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And that one, I mean, some of the best ones go so quickly.
How does the black and white painting relate to your group?
It actually is a collage. And so I started, this one just worked. It just, boom, it just worked. And so I didn't do a lot to it. But there is collage in here, and I suddenly saw, and it doesn't reference the same kind of stuff, but I still really liked it, because this is, for me, is music and a conductor. So I don't always stick to my more ancient stuff or my natural stuff, but this one just, and I liked it. So,
I just want to say what I like best about your work is it is complex simplicity. Very complex, very detailed, lots of interest in there, but the overall image is a simple image.
oh,
And I really like that.
Oh, thank you.
There's detail, but the overall composition is just quiet.
oh, thank you, Beaux. Because I fight, that's one of the things I fight with, is that I do make it, there's too much in there. And I always am going, keep it simple, stupid, all the time. And so I'm always putting things in and I go, keep it simple, take stuff out. Till you do, I have to fight to get that simpler image.
I would say you don't have to have a rationale for doing it. You just enjoy doing it, and the heck with it.
I have to do it. I feel like I have to do it.
You just enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I do. I do.
But you usually have a message of some sort.
Often I do, but not. The conductor was no big message there.
But you don't have to have it.
Do these pieces get better with age?
Yes, in the old days, I let some of the rusts not be sealed, but most people don't like that. So like this has got rust on it, but it's sealed, so it can no longer decay anymore. So no, I don't continue to let any more of them decay. No, but I just made one where I do save the rust dust. So I have boxes of rust dust. And so I made a whole surface of rust dust. So I still have it there for me, but I do seal it so it doesn't continue to decay for other people. Yeah.
And I wondered if you ever get into the Indian motifs.
Not very much. I mean, they had totems.
Native American.
Native Americans had totems all out in the West, especially up in the Inuits and the Aleut, all the natives up in like Alaska and Washington State and all that. They had huge totems that were mostly destroyed by the white man when he came along. Yeah. So.
Kathy, thank you so much.
Thank you.